here with Lori Schneider. She is the queen bee of AMOA. I always like saying queen bee. Queen bee. And she's basically, that is the organization that partners directly with AMA, okay? And together they put on Amusement Expo. Now, I believe that we met during the pandemic, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I reached out to you, and I remember that was the first time that we started doing videos or live videos.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And we were also at that point already doing Women at Embed, because we like to, you know, we go with our gender parity being what it is, with our female-led Chief Executive Team CEO Renee Welsh. We go really big, and I remember someone said to me, you need to speak with this person, Lori Schneider. We had the best chat. I loved it.
Did.
Okay, and I thank you for making time for me then, and also making time for me again, because as I mentioned a moment ago, you never know who's going to be listening and who's going to hear like your story or things that you have to say, and that it's going to be, you know, a gift, and that is the gift of your example, right? So you never know. It's like the tipping point, right?
Right.
It's just, you just never know, like, what the long tail of a story, and who it's going to reach, and who it's going to impact, and who it's going to transform. And I believe in the power of that. And so, my dear, with that, we sent you a series of questions, and I want to start with the first one.
Okay.
Which is basically, what is the secret to your success?
So I have actually three things that I would share. Probably the first one is to be a great listener. I mean, I just feel like, and this is with, you know, people.
Yes.
So you really need to listen. I feel that it increases productivity with your team. It builds trust.
Yes.
And it also kind of helps keep people calm when there's a crisis. And I especially saw that during COVID with our members.
Yes.
And I think in the long run, it just really helps build positive relationships. So I know that that's a gift that's been given to me, being a great listener. And, you know, because you're going to have the people that, you know, they're really good at talking and sharing, but there's also the people that have great ideas that are kind of quiet, and they withhold, you know, their ideas. And so when you listen, then you can bring out the best in people, which eventually then brings out the best in yourself.
Oh, isn't that so true? And you know, you're 100% correct. You are a phenomenal listener. Obviously, that's a development area for me. I'm okay, I own it. Everybody has development areas. People, they do.
Everybody does.
Everybody does. And so, yes, I will say you're 100% correct. You are a phenomenal listener. What I think is so special about what you just said is that when you bring out the best in people, it also brings out the best in you, which is also so true. And to me, that kind of reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, which is basically, you know, you can always show up as your best self and be the example you want to see in the world, and clearly you're a living example of that, which is amazing.
Yeah.
How many years have you been in the industry?
21. So 21 years.
Wow.
I know it's gone by so fast, so fast.
That's amazing. Have you always been with AMOA?
Yes. Yes, I started with AMOA in 2004, and then just worked my way up to the position I'm in now, and I just love this industry. The people are so fantastic.
Right? Isn't there such a generosity of spirit in this industry, right? Where people are, you know, like this right here, you're willing to share your story and allow us to put a spotlight on it, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
So tell me, in all of the time that you've been in this industry, how have you seen the industry evolve as specifically when it comes to gender parity?
Okay, so I would say, I mean, it really has evolved. I would say, especially in the last, I would say 8 years, probably. You know, if I look back at it all, because obviously when I came in, you know, it was becoming an older industry, very male-dominated, and I mean, and it is still today. But I feel that, you know, the next generation coming in. You know, I've been blessed that I've been given the opportunity to move up at AMOA, you know, in a industry, you know, that is male dominated, and they've been very receptive and very supportive of me over the years, and you know, and respected me, and it's been a great run. So it's exciting it's exciting to see how it's developed and really come about. I know that I'm very excited at Amusement Expo. I might be, sharing a secret, but we are going to have a women's breakfast finally after, years of kind of talking about it, that's going to come to fruition. And I just think it's great that we can support women in the many roles we have, not only in our careers, but at home at the same time. And we could do both.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. You are a living example of the evolution that's happened in the industry, where you have seen this ascension of women on all different types of businesses and all the sectors as well. I love your example also, because here's the thing: you joined the industry, and you yourself are now in charge of AMOA, okay, and that's an example right there of leadership. Beth Stanley is a great example of leadership, right? She is Madam President of the AMA board, and at the same time, she's got a company that she founded 20 some odd years ago that now has gone from being Trainertainment to also the second arm of that company as well, right?
Right.
So that's phenomenal, and you've seen it across also FECs as well, and in some cases, like with the Fernandez family, they've always had a female, a very strong. I think her family refers to Linda Fernandez as a force, right, at the helm of that family business, which is phenomenal, multi-generational no less. Yes. Also, and like at Embed, when you joined the industry, and even 8 years ago, like you just said, it still had, it didn't have very good gender parity at the chief executive level or diversity, and now look at it, right? We have a 66% gender parity in favor of women, with a strong CEO that leads us, and then a CMO. And so I just think I've seen it evolve in at least the 6 years that I've been in the industry. I've just seen this ascension. And then at the same time, I've seen a recognition, which really excites me, a recognition of the fact that many of these family owned and run FECs might have, let's say, the CEO of the helm might be male or female, but then they have their partner with them. And for example, today, Fun Station, and that would be James and Vanessa Miller, multi-generational family, okay, running 15 FECs, okay, and the fact that the both of them together, she's the yin to his yang, and they are together in running that company. And he said, hey, she's the brains of the operation, and people don't know it, and we're equal partners in all our decision making, which is gorgeous. And then you take Game Over Arcade, the Donners that are based in Portland, Oregon, and people looked at them and they thought, oh, he must be the techie and she must be, the accounting, and actually it's vice versa. Yeah. She's the one that does all the technology. And so to me, all of these different examples are an example of what we want to see in the world with diversity. And so that's exciting, and I'm doing too much talking. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I'm sorry.
It is exciting. Yeah. Because you are seeing that, and you're seeing that more and more every year. So,
yes. All right. And so, continuing on, the next would be any aha moments you want to share?
Okay, so my aha moment was, I tend to be a perfectionist. That's just how I made up, and that's what I do. But I had a gentleman share with me, who was one of our past presidents.
Yeah.
This was several years ago. He said, you don't always need to be perfect. And sometimes good is good enough. And I mean, not that we shouldn't strive for excellence, because obviously we do.
Yes.
But I learned a lot right then, not only for myself, but then my expectation of others, because I feel like I probably used to more so project my perfectionism onto other people, which was not healthy, and it doesn't help you, help you grow. And I would also kind of give the analogy with baseball, kind of when it comes to that, like, you're going for the grand slam. Like sometimes everybody, they're going for the grand slam or the home run, but in reality, it's sometimes just getting those base hits, getting those doubles that moves you further ahead. Just, you got to try, you got to take risks. You have to, try something new, and if it doesn't work, then you try again. Sometimes it's like, wow, look what just happened. Right?
Absolutely.
So, that is probably, one of my big aha moments. And I honestly, I'm telling you this now, and I really should contact that person. And I never really shared with him what an impact that has when he said that to me. And but he was helping me to become a better leader.
Yes, and that's a gift. And I think that there's so many of us kind of type A's that are trying to be perfectionists. And it's incredibly challenging because it can be very depleting, not only to ourselves, but then also to the people around us. Right? And it is a massive aha moment, the moment that you're able to say, progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection. And sometimes good enough is good enough, right? And you're right, it does put a lot of pressure on those around us if we're like, no, it's got to be like this, like all the time. Nobody can be perfect.
Nobody, it's not realistic.
It's not realistic, and no one's perfect all the time. That's brilliant. That's fascinating. Okay, so share with us a big life lesson, something that has been just one of these things that's happened that just, where there's a before and an after in your life, and that you learn from it, you're able to grow from it.
So my big life lesson was, we were just talking about, perfectionism.
Yeah.
So I mean, my whole life I've always been a leader. I've been involved in organizations and, captain of teams in high school, and always an achiever.
Yes.
So anyway, my husband and I, we formed our family via adoption, and so my son has developmental disabilities. He's 31 today, but when we were trying to figure things out, it was a really rough time. Just trying to figure out what was going on with him, and being the fixer that I, wanted to be. I was trying to fix a situation that really wasn't fixable. It was just that we needed to learn how to deal with what we were dealing with. So, but in that process, like some of the dreams maybe you have, you lose that dream of like what you thought raising this child was going to be like. It's going to be different. And really what it taught me was, it introduced me to a new community of kids.
Yes.
Today, my husband and I are both involved in Special Olympics. Our son competes in Special Olympics.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I will tell you, after working a long, hard day, and I go to one of their practices, and just watch they're so genuine. They have no preconceived notions. They just try their hardest, and one of their teammates, or even someone on the opposite team, they make a basket, or they get a big hit, or whatever that might be, to genuinely cheer one another on. It just warms my heart. And so how that's translated into my personal life, my career, is it's taught me a lot of patience, and it's taught me that sometimes we don't have control over things that happen.
That's right.
I find that it makes us stronger. It takes us out of our comfort zone. And maybe there's lessons there we need to learn about ourselves. And then just don't take yourself too seriously. Because, it just, in the end, it's not serious.
That's right. You're 100% correct. And what a touching story. It's such a touching story. It really, it warms my heart. It's such a touching story. When I was speaking to Beth during our podcast, she mentioned that I think the key to her life in this chapter is accepting let's say the loss of a dream, or the loss of a life you thought you were going to have, and embracing the one you do, and living in that moment, and receiving the gifts, because that was a gift for you. It's a life lesson, but it's just, there's so many gifts that are wrapped into it for you, and I think there's parallels with what you've said and what she said, right?
Because you learn, you can't take things for granted. sometimes you just assume, like, this is what it's going to, this is what my life's going to be like and what I'm going to do. And
absolutely.
yeah.
I want to shed a tear because it was just, that's so beautiful. Such a beautiful story. Not only about learning patience, but then also getting perspective and being present and in the moment. And you can't attend an event like that and not be present in the moment and be touched by these, like the miracles that are happening in front of you, where someone's cheering for someone else, and it's so genuine, it's so authentic. It's that that human experience is so beautiful, isn't it? Just
I was going to say, I can't tell you how many times my the tears are welling up in my eyes because it's just so authentic and beautiful and.
Right. And it's and happy tears, happy tears, right?
Joy.
And I think something that you just mentioned that Brittany Betty also shared with me was one of her favorite quotes was, we have to have perspective. We're in the business of fun and we take it seriously, but we also need to realize we're not running around with kidneys and coolers, right? And I think when you're a type A and a perfectionist, right, and driven and what have you, and work at a certain pace, once you're able to get that perspective, and what you're able to do is use your energy and your leadership, wrap it up with some patience, right, and accept, progress, not perfection, and it just makes for a fuller, more abundant, beautiful life. Wow, what a gift!
Yeah. So. Which then probably ties into the challenges, and that's, so I would say number one, dealing with challenges is I have a very strong faith that guides me every day, morning, noon, and night. I'm a very optimistic person. I can find something optimistic in any situation, even some that are really tough, but I can do that. But I think the one thing I find when I have challenges is that there's usually someone challenging me to get out of my comfort zone and learn or grow, and and that's always,
that's a gift.
It's a gift, absolutely.
You know what? This is probably why we vibe. As I've said, like your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
Yeah.
I am also, I'm wired to be optimistic and positive as well. And like you, Lori, I'm also wired where to find hope in any situation, no matter how challenging or dire or what have you. I can always find a way. Like nothing to me is ever hopeless per se.
Right.
And that's probably why, while I don't work as closely with AMOA like I do with AMA, with the committees and the board, this is probably why I always tend to kind of gravitate towards you, Lori. And I thank you for that, because it's a gift.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, my dear. Well, my goodness, we've heard so many just little gems and just magic and all of that with Lori Schneider today, the Queen Bee of AMOA. Any parting words at all?
Well, I just want to thank you, Sarah, and I admire that you highlight women, for International Women's Day. I mean, it's just, we have amazing powers, right? We're a driving force, and I love that we can work together and advance the industry and advance one another.
Absolutely, and celebrate everyone, because at the end of the day, we're not in competition with anybody. We want everybody to make it. In fact, we think there's enough space for everybody to make it, and hence that's why we want to celebrate everyone. So thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.